A huge welcome back to the show. Now, 3 comedians and a behavioural psychologist. Sounds like the beginning of a joke.
Yes, but we're not going to laugh because what we're talking about is no laughing matter.
Correct.
Here to talk about why we get lonely and what we can do about it is Pádraig Walsh.
Give Pádraig a round of applause. Now, ignore them if they start messing.
Yeah.
Barry Keoghan, who we all know, acting superstar, said in a recent interview with GQ that loneliness was catching up with him. When he walked the red carpet at Saltburn premiere in New York, he said, there's a loneliness as well that comes with this, a massive loneliness. It's hard not to talk about that or to pretend it's not there. Now, a lot of people may not know what it's like to be an acting superstar like he is, but a lot of people will relate to the fact he said he's lonely.
Yeah, and it was great that he said it. And at the top of the show, I kind of left a cryptic message saying that, but actually the US Centre for Disease Control identifies loneliness into later adulthood as a greater risk factor to cardiovascular health, mental health, dementia, as smoking, obesity, and lack of physical exercise. So staying connected with our friends, staying connected with our family, having those good, meaningful relationships is really, really important. When you see somebody like Barry Keoghan coming out and say, loneliness is tricky, you know, it just speaks about what happens to us throughout our lifespan, okay? Because loneliness crops up at different stages. In fact, I'm going to give the guys one really good fact, just one. Okay. So Dunbar's number is 150. Robin Dunbar is an evolutionary psychologist who has identified that from the Doomsday books in the UK in 1056 or 1086, he identified that the average village size was about 150. But he also matched that up to the average number of Facebook friends that people have is 149. And over millions of people who had phone calls, that the average number of people they contacted was 150. So typically people have that number of folks in their lives. Now there's different layers, there's 5 really close friends. But as we go through our lives, we finish college or we finish school, we retire from sport, we change job, we move house, we start a relationship. When we start a relationship with the one, we lose 2 friends because time is limited. So it's really important for us to maintain those connections that we have, but at different stages of our life, when work takes us to different places, loneliness can crop up.
Pádraig, do you reckon there's misconceptions when it comes to loneliness? Someone like Barry, he's young, top of his game, yet he still feels this way.
Yeah, so there's a couple. One is that we can't be lonely when there's lots of people around us, a la Barry's scenario. That, you know, if there's lots of people around us or we have oodles and oodles of friends on social media, that means we can't be lonely. Of course we can. And I differ that between aloneness, maybe having your lunch in the car by yourself because you want to get away from people.
Guilty! I actually love it.
And loneliness. So aloneness is where you're content in your own company.
Yeah.
Loneliness can happen with lots of different people around us. The second thing is that loneliness isn't a trait. It's not something that lasts forever. And it naturally occurs at those key transition points in our lives where we, you know, like I said, relationships finish, we finish our job. We have to plan for that if we move house to create connections with other people. So it's not something that's because I'm lonely or I don't have people in my life because of me. This can be a natural transition. What we need to tune into is taking control of that, particularly for younger men. We'll come to that.
Well, on that note, Forbes magazine reported that 73% of Gen Z say they feel lonely. Now, these young people are so connected to the virtual world. Why is it they then feel so disconnected from the real world that we're living in?
It's a lot of it can be state related, that at different points we feel loneliness. Now, loneliness is a natural human reaction. We say goodbye to a really close friend. We say goodbye to our parents at the airport. We break up with somebody and we will feel lonely. That's okay. That's a natural human response. It's not something to be avoided. It's something at times to be embraced.
And it should be accepted.
And accepted and tuned into. However, going back to Dunbar's number, he talks about this in terms of a series of circles going out to encompass 150 people. And within the closest circle, we have 5 really strong, meaningful relationships where people, you know, really get you. We have shared interests. They will go to your comedy gigs much earlier in their friendship.
Well done.
Sing it.
Sing it.
And they'll
He
be,
knows his audience.
They will be friends, they will be relatives. Outside of that, these are people, maybe 10 or 15 of them, who we would trust to to look after our kids, but mightn't trust them with our PIN number, right?
Yeah.
These are people who we'd see on average about every month. Now, those are ones that require effort to stay connected with. Now, even if you're sitting down watching this and I said you can resolve this straight away, there's a larger concentric circle of people who might attend your wedding or who you might see every year or two. They might be your broader relatives. Those are the folks to stay in touch with as well. And you've got to make an effort because they're not outside your door. They're not, you know, the ones that you meet every single day, but they're really important for you as you proceed through life. You know, when your life changes, you know, when you move or you finish a career or you change something, your family are often the folks that you fall back on and you stay connected with. And they're the ones at the end of a relationship, you go right back to your friends. Those are the ones. And those relationships need to be maintained and minded.
Need to be nurtured.
So if you're watching this, take up your phone and connect with them because it's going to be beneficial for your health.
I was going to ask you, Emma and Neil, you're both touring at the moment. Does that get isolating at all? And how do you manage that if it does?
I think, yeah, it does. If you're not careful, it's a weird situation where you're leaving your house and you are talking to only 400 people and then nobody else. So that's a bit odd. I manage it because I try and get home nearly every night. So I have structure and I see my wife and, you know, and I get up the next morning, we have breakfast and all the rest.
So it's a routine
It's a routine, but it's also getting back most nights. And both of us can do that because we tour mainly in a small country.
Yeah, I try and get back home most days when I'm gigging because I just want to get home. You know what I mean? And when you have a great gig and you've all those people and it's lovely, and then you kind of get into your car and it's like, do we need milk and bread? You know, like
it's such a switch, you know, because you come from all that connection. Not many people can relate. You're speaking out to a crowd that love and adore you, and then the show is done and it's just you.
You're in a petrol station in Enfield.
Trying to buy milk.
No, the other milk through the window.
Yes.
That milk, that's fine, that's grand.
I send a lot of voice notes to a lot of people that don't want voice notes.
I'm a voice note girl.
Pádraig, what are the benefits of keeping up those connections and perhaps also making new connections?
Yeah, so I'm really interested in the happen-upons. Like, and a happen-upon is leaving yourself open to potentially meeting new people, okay? Like, I compare it to, you go for a walk. Let's say you're going out for a walk and you stick your headphones in and you listen to a podcast. That's fine. I love that at the same time. But I also have a dog. And if I go walking with a dog, you're going to meet people because they're going to stop and chat to you. Or the dog's going to do something that you're going to have to be available for a happen-upon, where you just are leaving yourself open. You join a club. So in Ireland at the moment, the HSE last year launched social prescribing, which I'm really interested in. So it's saying, okay, if you are, going to your GP with a physical health or a mental health ailment, they're saying, well, actually, rather than prescribing medication, we'll prescribe you to go and join a club. Or here's a list of the social outlets that you have, because we know that connecting with others, being with other people, is really, really important for your physical and mental health. So let's just hold it back on this. So they've lots of information on the hse.ie around social prescribing, and it's done worldwide, and it's a really positive thing to do. You have things like men's sheds, sports clubs, the usual clubs that are there. And it can be difficult for you to say, well, actually, do you know what? I am lonely, and I want to get out and leave myself open to all the world's options and those strangers that might be friends that I just haven't met yet.
So having more happen-upons.
More happen-upons.
There we go. Pádraig Walsh,
Thank you. Everybody. Well done. And well done for behaving. Give them a round of applause as well. I wasn't expecting that. We're in the kitchen next where anti-food waste hero Conor Spacey is bringing us a taste of